Okay, in this video we're going to go through the initialization and then networking setup to run your own Casa node. The booklet we got here should be more than enough to get it hooked up, so I'm not going to go through the physical connecting and stuff. It's just like two cords. That's not complicated. We're just going to log in at casa-node.local as per the book, and then I'm going to walk you through the initial setup and backup, as well as getting your router configured for this to be a fully accessible node on the Bitcoin and Lightning network. All right, so let's not Google search it. Let's actually go to it. Here we go. All right. Begin setup. Hello there. First, we'll create your key. It's imperative that you write these 24 words in the proper order and store in a safe place. Creating your key can take a minute or two since the chain is currently syncing. I understand, continue. And I'm going to click on this and stop this recording because I am not going to show you my 24-word seed. All right, so we've got that sorted, and now it wants us to create a password. And they say they recommend using a password manager to generate your password. I definitely would recommend that as well. So if you use KeePass X like I do, or maybe LastPass or something like that, generate a secure password and just keep a good backup of it written down in a safe place. And we will go ahead and do that. I will also not be recording this part. All right, and we have completed the setup. Make sure you store your login credentials in a safe place. There is no forgot password button. Continue setup. No, never. Sync time. It will take a few hours for your node to finish its first sync. We recommend waiting until it's fully synced to use your Casa node. Don't be too reckless. Just one last thing to remember. The Lightning Network and the Casa node are experimental technology. Casa is not liable for any funds lost while using the Casa node. Have fun with Lightning, but only store funds here that you're willing to lose. I agree. All right, and here we are. This is the main. All right, so this takes quite a while to sync everything and get Lightning started up and the Bitcoin node synced with the network. So at this point, let's go ahead and set up the router side, because if you want to be available to the network to open up channels so people can open up channels with you and you can route payments, you need to set a static IP address and open up ports specifically for it. So we're going to do that now. All right, the first thing to do is obviously log into your router. The standard login, if you just type in the browser bar 192.168.0.1, that is typically the router address. Sometimes it is .1.1. On mine, it is .50.1. So more often than not, it's .0.1. My setup here is an ASUS router, so you just need to look up your exact router type and figure out what that login address is, and then you'll have, unless you have set up your own username and password, you will have a default admin and password that's typically on the bottom of your device. And that's another way to check it out, is if you look at the bottom or back of your router, a lot of times it will have both the IP address and the username and password you need to log in. All right, so the next thing to do is find the IP address of the Casa node device and then set it as the static IP so that the IP address of that device doesn't change, and we can port forward to the IP address without having to worry about the Casa node updating and the port forwarding no longer working for the device. So you will see something like network map or client list, typically under general, or if you just go to the local area network settings. Again, this depends on the router. but you'll see the process that we have here on mine is just the client list. So what we want to do is we want to view our client list just so we can see, make sure our device is in fact in this list. Give it a second. Okay, so Raspberry Pi Foundation, and that's our Casa node. It actually said Casa node at the beginning, so after I updated it changed, so I'm not sure why that is. You may see either, but that is in fact our Casa node here, and you notice we already have a static IP, but I will show you how I did that. By default, if you set up, or at least in this one, when you set up a static IP, it will just give it the IP address that it already has and just make sure that it does not refresh to a different IP address. So we're going to local area network, or LAN. This might be different in your router again, but the basic idea will be the same. Then you go to DHCP server, and down here at the bottom, enable manual assignment. Click yes. And then here we will just go to the manually assigned IP addresses. And when I type in the Raspberry Pi Foundation, it will automatically fill the IP address that it already has. Then you're just going to hit add to the list and then hit apply. Obviously, I have already done that, so I'm not going to do this again. And it will not actually apply until we reboot the router, but we still got other settings to change. So select your Casa node, double check the IP address, and then hit add, and then hit apply. And do not reboot yet. We're going to go to wide area network so that we can port forward at the same time. Do all this at once. And in port forwarding, you will see virtual server / port forwarding. There are two different ports that we need to deal with here. Now, when you put in a service name, this is strictly for your own reference so that when you look at it, you can know what you've done this for. Source target is none in particular, so I've just got 0000. But for Bitcoin Core, your port range is just 8333. That's the port you want open. So let's do a short version here. I'm just not even going to put anything in that, and it'll automatically fill in. So that's the port we want. The local IP is the one that we just set up. So we want the Raspberry Pi device, and local port is the same because port range, this is when somebody on the internet talks to you, they're going to be reaching on port 8333, and then the local port on the device is also 8333. So TCP IP protocol, and then you hit add. And then this will all clear out again, and we'll do the exact same thing, but the Lightning port, as you see, is 9735, not 8333. So 9735, and local IP, again, the exact same one, Raspberry Pi, 9735, and then we hit add, and then apply. But obviously I've already done this, so I'm not going to do all this again. But after you hit apply, go back to the main page, and you should be able to, where's our reboot button? Reboot, right there. Just reboot your router, everything should start back up, and your Casa node should have the same IP address that is now static, and the port forwarding should work, and then we can double check our work. Okay, so now what we want to do is check our work. A bunch of different websites can do this, but canyouseeme.org is a great way to check. And since it will automatically, you can't see anything in our local network, so the router is automatically going to port 8333 will be forwarded to our Casa node. And so all we have to do is punch in 8333 and then check port, and we should see a success that it got a response on that port, which would be directly to our Casa node. And boom, there we have it. 8333 is open and talking to our Casa node. Now let's do 9735 for Lightning and check that one as well. and we have success. And another good thing to check is just increase it by 1 or lower it by 1, just to make sure you don't have all your ports open. You just want to make sure that those 2 ports are the ones talking and getting through your network. Obviously do not want to just open yourself up to the whole internet, but that's obviously not going to be happening. But there we go. 9736 is closed. 9735 is open and talking to Lightning. All right, so we go back to our Casa node, and it should now be fully synced, and Lightning should say active. Make sure this does not say rolling forward. You don't want to mess with it until it does. Maybe you just want to leave it overnight until all this is sorted out. But when you do, we're going to hit another video here soon. I'm going to show you how to work with autopilot, as well as setting up your own custom channels for, find a let's say Blockstream's node or someone else's node that you want a direct channel with. You can set up custom channels, as well as some tricks I've found to give yourself liquidity without having to have someone else open a channel with you. There are a lot of services and little games, and we'll play around with all that next time in another video playing with our Casa node. Guys, don't forget to check out cryptoeconomy.life, where I post all of this stuff so you can stay up to date and learn everything there is about Bitcoin and the Lightning Network. I read on the podcast, that's the Crypto Economy podcast, all kinds of work from a huge selection of authors and writers in the Bitcoin space. So that is a great resource to learn all of this stuff, and I will post all these videos up there as well. So thanks for listening, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy, everybody.